Security has been increased in Yorkshire for any crowd trouble aimed towards the Aussie team at Headingley this week. That's right. The club and the police, they've had discussions to make sure that there is sufficient security arrangement to deal with potential trouble. The crowd at Lord's became hostile and abusive, with 3 MCC members suspended after the Australian players were booed and heckled in the long room at Lord's. Within 3 minutes of that happening, Western Terrace, which is known as one of the loudest stands in the country, was trending on Twitter, with fans saying it will get more hostile in Yorkshire. That's not all. Ben Stokes also spoke about how the feeling will be ramped up in Leeds after the second test. So, the Yorkshire Police is ensuring safety measures are good for the test match, given it's likely to be a partisan, hostile crowd at Headingley. Alex Carey's stumping of Bairstow, who is a local favourite in Yorkshire, is likely to make him a prime target over the next week. Things are going to only heat up from here on, Jamie. I feel like this is going to get uglier than it already has. Do you agree?
Yes, it is. And just to think, on day one of that test match, I think I mentioned this yesterday as well. Those images of Johnny Bairstow picking up one of those utter nuisances of the Just Stop Oil protesters, picking him up under his arm like he's a piece of cardboard and throwing him over the boundary. If that's how the test match started, day one of the Lord's Test, 4 days later things had taken a very, very ugly and dramatic turn. So you've gone from talking about pre-test match situation, pre-test match security, from going literally 8 days ago, 7 days ago, talking about let's put a bit more security to stop protesters, and now you're talking about a far more genuine threat. That is a threat to Australian players, even if it's just going to be verbal. Yorkshire is, yes, they have some vibrant fans, but it's got a history. It can be very, very hostile. And if Lords can turn hostile, imagine what's going to happen there. So let's hope that we have no situations, and let's hope that we get another thrilling test match that goes down to the wire. Because at the end of the day, I think that's what every cricket fan, neutral or pro Australia, pro England, want to watch. And I'm pretty sure after what we saw in the Lords long room, that very shameful incident, the ECB and Yorkshire cricket will do their best to put things right. Because let's not forget what Yorkshire cricket themselves have been going through the last couple of years.
Yeah. You know what, Vedam? I would take the raucous crowd in Headingley any day over the pretentious crowd at Lord's in the long room, the MCC members. At least these people make no pretensions about who they are. They are there to support one team. They, like Jamie said, they're loud, they can be hostile, but they are who they are.
I agree with you 100%. I was laughing, thinking, look at these long room guys, like you correctly said, so pretentious. It's so easy for that so-called veneer of respectability to be torn apart, and it brings out all their stark inner feelings. And it's not just three. I mean, this three must be scapegoats, but definitely what we saw on TV was about 30 or 40 of them. It was not three. It was much more than that. And if they are going to be fair, they said they'll have a fair hearing. They have to throw out at least 30 or 40. Not just stop them from coming matches, they have to ban them from membership. Only then it makes some sort of sense. Like I said, not three, but at least 30 to 40. Yeah, but you're right. The Yorkshire crowd also knows the game. They know the game, they understand the game, and they are tough as nails. They're really tough as nails. But the problem now with England is England has created an aura that the Australians are cheating, and England is,
Exactly.
lily white or whatever they want to call themselves, and they are playing by the rules while the opposition is not playing by the rules. I mean, it's a wrong tale to actually sell. You're selling the wrong story, because the story you have to say is that you're not good enough. The opposition is much better than you. They're playing better than you. And with all the hostility, the Australians have stayed focused. They didn't bother about the baseball or whatever you called it. They stayed focused on it. Even with all this hostility, they're staying focused on it. And I'm 100% sure that in Headingley, they will be as focused as they were in these two matches, because they have shown They have shown a maturity, they've shown the ability to handle different situations far better than the English team has. England has come with one gear, and
Yeah.
once that gear is not working, they don't know how to handle it. Whereas the Australians are doing a lot more, and they are a lot tougher. They are tough as nails, and they are not losing their cool. They might have some words might have been exchanged by Warner and
Usman Khwaja.
Khwaja in the long room. But
Yeah.
otherwise, if you look at all the Australians, they are very cool. Even when they're getting hit, even when these guys are going at hammer and tongs, like Pat Cummins at the press conference. So I
Yeah.
think they are doing things a little differently, and it's paying off. And England had better learn fast.
Jamie, do you see that support changing in case England lose the third test match as well? In terms of, I know that fans are in awe of baseball at the moment. Two test matches in, some of the decisions, may not have gone in England's favour, but what this has done is it's made both the test matches enjoyable. People are talking about Ben Stokes' innings, his declaration, how this baseball makes everything exciting. But at what point will English crowds finally say, you know what, it isn't working?
It's a good question. There's a school of thought that says that maybe all this was drummed up a bit more than usual to detract from this very fact that you raised. The fact that baseball isn't working. Now if they didn't have 100% of the English fans behind them, now they definitely do, because look, Australia have been painted, and here the British tabloids and TV channels and certain sections of the British media have had a big role to play, right? The fans may have gotten riled up. The fans may have said something. I think the Lord's long room, or like you mentioned, are more at fault here. But now heading to Yorkshire, where anyways they enjoy outright support, I think now everyone who knows what cricket is probably going to be behind this team, despite, like Vedam said, the fact that not enough people are hauling up Johnny Bairstow. I mean, a lot of people have commented on air. Andrew Strauss. We saw Owen Morgan's reaction. A lot of people have said, that he was living in a bubble. He was being dozy, is what Jeff Boycott referred to as Johnny Bairstow being. But that said, I just think a little differently. I think now, after all this, they're actually, and Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes can talk about being galvanized. But this off-field narrative that the British media and the fans have now painted might actually work in their favor.